Paris. City of love, romance, and dreams. So they say. I used to say it too. But ever since that day, the day of the murder, I've always associated my beloved Paris with death.
And chat begins. Right.
I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
Collard, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon. No photos, so leave your gear at home. He asked for you personally. Don't ask me why. Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes, but unless you humor them, they don't go away. Here I was, the palace of the Media King and the Ice Queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life forever.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico Collard. I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
Madame Carchon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation. Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's business affairs, and I care even less. I certainly have no intention of watching him pore over yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty? You're too kind, madame.
Ah, the talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Carchon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please. But I did not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father? He never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death. So tragic. I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame. That was no cat. My God! What? Monsieur Carchon! He's dead. I must call the police. You'd better stay here. There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen. She would have been top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. One of the most important men in Europe murdered And here was I, Nico Collard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation? It was a no-brainer.
Right, so we have to move the mouse pointer around the screen to discover areas of interest, which will be indicated by an animating blue circle. Okay. When the pointer passes over an object which you can interact, it will change to an animating icon reflecting the available actions. Press left mouse button to perform the action. So we have briefcase to open your inventory and display objects. Diary icon to access the diary. Question mark to get puzzle hints and interface help. And spanner icon to save and restore a game. So this one added some new help icons and stuff. Okay. Since the original. Okay. So okay, let's have a look. So that's view, inspect, investigate.
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before, and written about him. The costume killer, at least that's what I'd called him. I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow.
Right, so we have to.
Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend.
Palais Royal Pierre Carchon interview. Relaxing in bath, and I was disturbed by a phone call from my editor, Ronnie. He asked me to interview Pierre Carchon, media tycoon and serial philanderer, on the case like a shot. Creepy mime outside the Carchon's apartment. MME. Carchon cold as ice. M. Carchon suave and charming, and living up to his reputation, played along with his flirtation. Sounds of a face smashing, and M. Carchon went to investigate. A gunshot, and rushed to the room and found Mime standing over Carchon's body. Mime beckoned as I walked to him. He punched me, knocked me out. Come to find Imelda distraught. Almost feel sorry for her. Must get to the bottom of the story before the police arrive. This is the break that I've been waiting for. Okay.
In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now.
I mean, you already kind of touched upon it, so.
I know. So that means I'm going to have to solve this, aren't I?
Carchon had been shot. I opened his eyes. Best to leave the crime scene as I found it.
Listen, why is my fingerprints on his eye? I close them.
It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down. I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow.
I'll close it and I'll open it. Now, what else should I do? Should I leave it closed or open? To use an inventory item on a background object, click on that item and hold the mouse button. while continuing to hold the mouse button and drag the item over a hotspot and release when it highlights the colored outline. Let's have a look and see what we have. Right, so we have.
It was a boat ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. When I was a little girl, Papa used to take me on the Bateau Mouche as a treat. It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. No.
Okay.
No.
Can't pin it open, pin his eyes open.
I opened his eyes. Best to leave the crime scene as I found it.
Well, should I be fixing his jacket if I was going to do that?
Pierre Carchon was stiff for the last time.
Alright, I'll just leave it the way it is now.
A bust of Pierre Carchon, humble servant of La France. The bookcase was filled with obscure first editions. Pierre Carchon again. His eyes seemed to follow me around the room. The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them. A Louis XIV table with an antique cloth. Imelda had taste, but hey, with a husband that rich, taste is easy. I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful. Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole. Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming. Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that. It was a tube of acrylic paint, French ultramarine. Just the color I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
So speak to her now.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
How did your husband know my father?
I have no idea.
You didn't know him? Nico Collard?
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
He never told you anything?
No, and frankly, I preferred it that way.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines.
Just because I am a journalist.
Don't patronize me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
Yes, that's why I do this job.
You do it to see your name in print.
As if. My editor gets the byline, I just do the work.
Well, don't expect my sympathy.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were. He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
Your husband invited me here today because he needed me. I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already, I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come.
You really do have a moral sense, don't you? I trust so few people. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you, too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Thank you. I promise you won't regret this. I thought of leaving, but was sure there was more to find. The door was locked. Now we were getting somewhere. I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already. The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie? The painting was attached. The tube of paint from Imelda's easel, French ultramarine. The portrait was too beautiful to ruin, even if I did have a thing against rich, famous people. A key. Maybe a safe key. This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression, though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why. As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Cauchon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda. I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank. The paint would have just soaked into the blotting paper, but the idea was good. No. 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 I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. No. No. Locked. Not surprising, really. It didn't work, but I guess it would have been surprising if it had. It was a back door.
That's a
I tried the, yeah, didn't work that, so I don't know what to do now.
top.
It's a key, it's for a safe.
No.
Okay, so,
What about the key to the drop? Oh, is that the key? Is that the key to the tray?
yeah. Doesn't look in the other door either. I tried both of them.
No. It was the beautiful elephant my father had carved. The tube of paint from Imelda's easel, French ultramarine.
I know. Let's try that one. Ah, that was it.
I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad girl, but also quite a clever one. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. In a way, I was going back to art school. I'd ruined the tray, but I was on my way to solving a clue. No. The paint had been squeezed from the tube. No.
Hmm.
No.
What's the stack of paper?
The cloth was embroidered with an unusual symbol. No.
Oh, if I could see.
No.
Wait, can we not pick
No.
What?
that up the hand? Can we not pick it up?
I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper.
Not while it was blank.
What's the red thing?
It was a boat ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. No. No. No.
I want stuff closer. So what now?
I'd ruined the tray, but I was on my way to solving a clue.
Let's see.
I didn't need it.
Okay, so that's...
No. There wasn't enough paint left in the tube.
I should put the ticket in there.
No. No.
Huh.
No.
Let's just try everything.
No. No.
Let's have a look around and see if there's anything else.
This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression, though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why.
You know what we'll do? Let's look in here.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job.
Right.
I didn't want to cut myself and leave blood on the glass.
Call me old-fashioned, but I like to keep my DNA to myself.
Might be something out here.
The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window.
He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him.
It contained rows of titles I didn't recognize.
So let's see.
What about the statue, the boss?
A bust of Pierre Cauchon. A bust of Pierre Cauchon.
A magnificent antique table. There was no one I needed to phone, not until I had solved this case. Did you find anything useful?
This carving. Do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know.
He was given it by a friend, something to do with Africa.
He never explained any more.
No, but I think it was important to him, always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Just one thing. I know this is going to sound strange, but did your husband ever mention, did he ever talk to you about a penguin? Or a snowman?
What? I don't understand.
He never mentioned people dressed up as penguins.
Nico, I don't know what you're talking.
My dear,
You should go before the police arrive. There will be many awkward questions. I am grateful that you stayed. You've been so kind.
please, call if there is anything I can do.
I'd misjudged her. She had every reason to be bitter, living with a guy like Carchon.
From the sound of it, no one and nothing was safe around him. Maybe I should have interrogated the cat after all.
Go up and interrogate Amelia. She wouldn't like her.
Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that.
Why don't you like her?
But she seemed totally bad for
And the tapestry must have cost a fortune.
Is it because she's snobby? So,
Let me check the doors.
that one no. That one yeah.
Locked. Not surprising, really.
About the fire?
Nothing no. Tried all the keys already.
It didn't work.
If you've gone near something, it flashes. You don't go over things. It's quite good there. Let's try this one. Nothing else there. I can't touch this.
No. 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 No.
Alright.
There wasn't enough paint left in the tube. No. 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 No.
No.
No.
No.
No. No. No.
That doesn't work whatsoever. Anyone got any ideas here?
didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already. Pierre Carchon was stiff for the last time. Carchon had been shot. No. No. Programming the Z80 by Rodney Zacks. Ah, the romance, the drama, the great classic novels had a lot to learn. It contained rows of titles I didn't recognize. It contained rows of titles I didn't recognize. Madame Carchon,
please call me Imelda. We hardly need the formalities now, do we?
did Monsieur Carchon say nothing to you about my father?
No, I'm sorry. He never mentioned him.
The last thing she needed to talk about was paint. So, her husband took secret boat trips. Did she really need to see the ticket?
Thank you. You have your own reason for taking the cloth. Please keep it.
Imelda might not have been so cool with me poking around if I'd shown her the key I'd found. Thank you. Let me give you the key back. I didn't need it anymore. Would you like to take the elephant back?
No, my dear. You should keep it.
I was sure that there was more to find. I just had to keep looking.
Ideas. light switch, painting, desk of two things, door.
I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. In a way, I was going back to art school. I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank.
Need a paintbrush.
No. 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 No.
Nothing else here.
Locked. Not surprising, really.
No, no. Nothing else.
This wasn't the time for me to lie on this sofa, though it is very popular at parties, especially with
Currents. Nope. If you're watching this, I am very stuck.
Pierre Carchon was stiff for the last time. No. 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 I closed his eyes. I opened his eyes. I closed his... No. 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 Carchon had been shot. No. I opened his eyes. Best to leave the crime scene as I found it. Not a good idea to touch the broken glass.
Bookmark.
There was the very faintest of clicks. Locked, not... Not a good idea to... The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window. Behind the picture was a safe. In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past caring. rolled the artifact in the paint until it was completely coated. Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned, but what did it say? It was some kind of coded message. It read, "Sub judice." I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The Conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, sub judice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the Conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time. It was a boat ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Rolling out the painted cylinder had given me a print of a secret message. It read, "Sub judice." Below it was a sequence of letters, SDSS, DSS. The cloth was embroidered with an unusual symbol. No. Locked, not surprising, really. Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer.
Thank you, my dear.
And if the police ask,
Don't worry. You were never here.
sub judice was the key. I was going to have to find a way under the Conciergerie. I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the Conciergerie, it would have to be from there. Canchon wasn't the type for messing about on the river. He was up to something down here. Something that got him killed. The fence wouldn't move. An old boyfriend of mine owned a barge once. Dampest relationship I ever had, in every way. This fence wouldn't move either. The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. It was embroidered on the lace cloth I'd picked up at Canchon's apartment. I knew I was on the right track. I tried pushing the fence, but it wouldn't move. A strange pair of locks stopped the latches from releasing the gate.
So you must move the rectangular block so the latch can slide all the way across. So releasing the gate open, blocks move along their length, some vertically, some horizontally. Right. You move a block, click on it and drag it horizontally or vertically along the block axis. It starts there's a gap there. Okay.
There's a gap there, there's a gap there.
Only one gap.
Can you stop that?
What?
Just keep the thing still.
Is that one?
Right, okay. Put that one down.
Which one?
That one. No. Well, that one there. The only one that can move down at the top.
I can't move
The
down.
only one that can move down. There's only one.
That can't move down because that was.
The one left. Yeah. Move that. Stop. Move that across. Move that up there. No. That can't go up. It's in out.
1 second.
Whoops. One down, one to go.
Nothing like a good convent education for honing your lockpicking skills. For a room full of... This place was definitely fishy, in more ways than one. Oops. Moving a skiff would only damage it more. I really didn't want to pull the fence back up and risk An old shell case. I wondered what that was doing there. No handle, nothing obvious, but there had to be a way to open it. The words sinister and Dexter were carved on either side. Now any good convent girl like me knows the old Roman for left, right, but what did it mean here? Rolling out the painted cylinder, it read. Rolling out the painted cylinder had given me a print of a secret message. It read, Sub Judice. Below it was a sequence of letters, S, D, S, S, D, S, S. Nothing happened. 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 The hole was too small even for my little hand. I couldn't get my hand in. Mystery solved. Carchon's stone cylinder with a satisfying click. A satisfying click. Another click. I love the sound of locks clicking open. Oh my God! The slab came down with a hell of a force. With nothing to hold it up, the cross dropped back down again. If I was going to get a closer look at the panel, I'd have to find a way of keeping the cross up. Lifting the cross closed the entrance door, and also opened some kind of stone panel. Ingenious. The stone cross was propped up. Now I was getting somewhere. I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. I've always been attached to my fingers. This slot was designed for something specific. But what? I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. I've always been attached to my fingers. This slot was designed for something specific. But what? I removed the shell case. I really didn't want to pull the fence back up and risk trapping myself in this place. Moving the skiff would only damage it more.
Right, so what we need to do now is showcase in there.
I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. This slot was...
Right, so that goes in there. Reusable.
The artifact slotted into the hole perfectly. Behind the old walls, I could hear some kind of mechanism groaning into life, but whatever had been triggered had now jammed. The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open.
Oh my God. Right. Walker, smoky bacon.
I removed the shell
So I'm
case.
bringing them down.
The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up.
So you can get some crisps.
The gap was too narrow. I needed something flatter to work into it.
Right, so I have it flatter. Maybe this. Oop, maybe not. Not my elephant. Good.
I was going to need something a lot stronger than a hair clip to free the door.
Don't work.
The gap was too narrow. I needed something flatter to work into it.
Nothing I have so far.
Ut lex vel ut next sumito. To the law or unto death submit. I guess these people didn't believe in liberté, égalité, or fraternité. Yes, I'll admit it. I was a swot at school. I also wore lipstick and the nuns never knew. The panel wouldn't move.
Nope.
I wasn't leaving yet. This fence wouldn't move either. This fence was a permanent fixture. This fence was a permanent fixture. I wasn't leaving yet. An old boyfriend of mine owned a barge once. It was the old boathouse for the conciergerie. If I was right about the meaning of subjudice, then the answer had to lie somewhere here on the quayside. The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. I'd already unlocked the door. I removed the shell case. Shame. The shell case was too wide. I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. I've always been attached to my fingers. I took the stone cylinder. This wouldn't hold the cross up. But I was on the right track. I needed to use something sturdier. The cross didn't need to be propped up. The slab was too heavy. A hidden door. This was getting interesting. Shame the mechanism jammed. I was going to have to find a way to prise it open. The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open. I removed the shell case. The gap was too narrow. I needed something flatter to work into it. No. 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 I was going to need something a lot stronger than a hair clip to free the door. The cross didn't drop. The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up. The cross was firmly propped up. Shame. The shell case was too wide. The gap was I took the stone cylinder. The stone slab had flattened one end of the shell case. I removed the shell case. Another good use for a shell case. Another secret room. Somebody had something to hide. But was it what I was looking for? Wow! Through the darkness, I could see that this was a stateroom. But for what purpose? And how did it tie in with Carchon? Amazing! The thing still worked. The room lit up bright as day. A door like that always has something important behind it. I had to find a way to unlock it. That wasn't going to help. That wasn't going to help. I wasn't going to find anything in this old desk. It hadn't been used for years. The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia, a message of hate. Inside the drawer, I found a note written in some kind of code. Rolling out the painted cylinder had given me it read. It was pretty clear from the lack of dust that someone had been working very recently at this desk. Oh my God! The sheet was a printout with my personal information. Everything from my favorite food to my waist size. They were right about chocolate, but come on guys, I'm a size 10. There was even a picture of me, taken with a telephoto lens. Carchon wouldn't have taken these pictures himself. This was big. And organized. I was part of it, and people were getting murdered. One thing was clear. Someone connected to Carchon had been watching. This was the article I'd written about the costume killer. My suspicions were right. Carchon had cut it out. 2 businessmen had been killed. One in Italy, one in Japan. In each case the killer had worn a costume. A penguin, and then a snowman. But that wasn't the only link between the 2 murders. Both the victims had been big media do-gooders, and I proved they were just the opposite. So, how did they fit in with Carchon? My articles about the costume killer. My articles about the costume. Damn, don't you just hate it when that happens? A photo, long lost, had fallen down the back of the drawer. It was very old, but there was no mistaking the guy in the foreground. Carchon. Behind him were soldiers, a burning village, and a corpse. The photograph was cropped on the right-hand side. Somebody else in the picture obviously didn't want to be in it anymore. I wasn't surprised. This was Africa in the 60s. An uprising was being brutally suppressed. And here was Mr. Media himself, Carchon, doing the suppressing. The photograph was not just powerful evidence. It was also my ticket to one explosive story. There was nothing else in the drawer. The drawer had come out easily enough, but wouldn't fit back into place. The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia, a message of hate. I wasn't going to find anything in this old desk. It hadn't been used for years. The desks were covered with a layer of dust. No one had worked here for years. A slot next to the safe door. All I had to do was find something to fit into it. It was like being back in kindergarten. All I needed now was a shape that would fit the slot. Lady Justice stared out from a stone door, which was locked and reinforced with steel bands. That wasn't going to help. A door like that always has something important behind it. I had to find a way to unlock it. Lady Justice stared out from a stone door, which was locked and reinforced with steel bands. The flags had faded, but the fascist. The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia. The photograph showed Carchon smiling happily with a background of burnt. decrypted the note. It read, Pierre, full report to follow. But this is too urgent to wait. Arno and Yamada both dead. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that all of us who came together in July are in danger. Take great care. X. I wasn't the only one to make the connection between the costume killer murders. I'd been right all along. That was why he had asked to meet me. But what did I know that he didn't? I had enough for a story. An amazing story that was going to make my reputation and blow Conscience to pieces. I needed to get home fast and start typing.
Bonsoir, Collard.
Nico, it's Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, you cracked open the champagne yet?
Are you crazy?
What's wrong? Wait a minute. You didn't print it, did you?
Course I didn't print.
That's the best piece I've written.
The last, as far as I'm concerned.
It's important.
It's suicidal. You can't destroy a national hero.
He deserved it.
His corpse isn't even cold.
Ronnie, 2 hours ago I told you what I'd found. You loved it. You begged me to write it up immediately.
2 hours is a long time in newspapers, Nico.
Someone's got to you, haven't they?
Listen up, Nicole, and listen good. Pierre Carchon had a lot of friends. Powerful friends. For your own sake.
Forget what happened.
You got it. End of conversation. Good night.
This should have been my big break, but I knew there was nowhere else to sell this story. If Ronnie wouldn't print it, nobody would.
Bonsoir, Collard.
Mademoiselle Collard, my name is Plantard. I need to talk to you about your story. Your Pierre Carchon story.
How did you know about that?
There are people out there, madame, who will be very upset by this story.
Oh, really? Well, it's their lucky day. It's been spiked.
Yes, I know. We must meet.
We must?
I have information relating to your costume killer stories. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., Café de la Chandelle Verte, Rue Alain Court. I shall be wearing a grey overcoat. You must talk to no one about this.
You can't tell me what to...
Tomorrow at 8. I'll be waiting.
People complain about newspaper articles all the time, but not usually before they're printed. I was beginning to feel scared. This guy, Plantard. Could I trust him? Should I meet him or forget the whole business? I didn't have an answer.
I'd only been in Paris for a week, but already I'd fallen in love with the city. My latest discovery was a little cafe, La Chandelle Verte. I was pretty sure the waitress was taking a shine to me. That old Stobbart charm, I guess. Little did I know my reverie was about to be so rudely interrupted. As I picked myself up, I was really angry. 1 minute I'm on vacation, the next minute some clown's blown me up. I knew right away what I was going to do. I was going to find that clown and bring him to justice. Because justice matters. Justice is up there with liberty, and equality, and, fraternity. After all, that's why I'd studied law, wasn't it? Well, that and the money, of course.
Okay, so this.
Oh, my head. Never again. How much vodka did I drink? Oh, no, don't tell me. What is your name, Sherry?
George Stobbart, ma'am. You look like you could use a little help.
I could use a little drink. I feel sick, dizzy, and bruised. I don't even remember the party.
Just relax and take it easy. You've been knocked out.
You don't say. What happened?
There's been an explosion. You should try not to move.
Are you a doctor?
No, but I used to play hospitals when I was a kid. Can you remember anything at all?
No. I need a drink. Pour me a brandy.
You could be in shock. No alcohol.
What about the old man? Is he dead?
Of course not. I didn't want an hysterical French girl on my hands. At least, not right now. Do you remember what happened when the clown entered?
I remember that horrible tune he played all right. It was like a funeral dirge.
I'd never liked accordion music either. Did the clown speak to the old man?
No, he just laughed at him. Then he grabbed the old man's briefcase and ran out of the door.
Did you know the old man?
No, monsieur. I never saw him before.
Did you see what the old man had in his briefcase?
No, he didn't open it.
What did the old man do when the clown snatched his briefcase?
Nothing. He just sat there like he was frozen.
How did the old man behave?
Well, agitated. He kept looking about him at the door, at his watch.
As if he was waiting for someone?
Yes, I suppose so. He was worried about something, that's for sure. If you ask me, he was having an affair. He had that look about him, like a guilty husband.
Did the old man try to stop the clown?
Oh, he didn't have a chance. The clown dropped his accordion and ran out of the door. That's it. That's all I can remember.
Stay here, mademoiselle. I'm going to look around for evidence. The sight of the dead guy's staring eyes turned my knees to jelly. I tried not to meet his stare as I searched the dead man's pockets. No wallet, no papers, no credit cards. The guy's past was a blank page. It was the body of the old man. It was hard to believe I'd seen him alive only minutes before. A mysteriously undamaged bottle of spirit stood on the bar. I needed a stiff drink, but I hated the taste of brandy. I needed a stiff drink. I'd hoped the fact that the mirror was already broken meant I'd escaped the bad luck. The mirror had smashed into 1,000 pieces. Bad luck for someone. Poor guy. He was pretty mashed up. He was pretty mashed up. I considered straightening the table, but I figured it best not to disturb the evidence. The big story was about the brutal murder of a French media magnate, shot down in cold blood. The guy oozed confidence, like a regular French statesman. I noticed the writing at the foot of the page. It read, Salah Eddin, 1345. The leading article referred to the visit of a Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state. The column was devoted exclusively to rumor, gossip, and sensationalism. The column was devoted exclusively to rumor, gossip, and sensationalism. The big story was about the brutal murder of a French media magnate, shot down in cold blood. The guy oozed confidence. The big story. The guy oozed.
Freeze! Hold it, right there.
Whoa, don't shoot. I'm innocent. I'm an American.
Can't make up your mind, huh?
I demand to see the American consul.
Drop your weapons and get down on the ground.
Put that thing away, Sergeant Mou. I apologize, monsieur, but I cannot permit you to leave.
Am I under arrest?
Ah, no, I would simply like to ask you some questions. En avant, to the café, marche. What a mess. This bombing is an outrage, is it not?
Stop that, monsieur.
Has it occurred to you that he may be dead, Mou?
Oui, monsieur. But I prefer to look on the bright side. Besides, I recall a case where the killer escaped by feigning death. However, in this case, the man is quite dead.
Examine the girl and take her statement, if you can. Et maintenant, to business. Your name, please?
George Stobbart. I'm from California.
And what brings you to Paris, Monsieur Stobbart?
Travel. I'm touring Europe.
You chose well. The city is most beautiful at this time of year, no?
Yeah, I guess so, apart from the bomb blasts.
Were you in the vicinity of the cafe at the time of the explosion?
Yeah, I was sitting out on the sidewalk. I was lucky I wasn't killed. The inspector passed over my remark with no reaction.
Did you see the deceased enter the cafe?
Yes, I did.
Was he alone?
Yeah.
And did he say anything to you?
No. He was more interested in the waitress.
Did you see anyone else in the cafe?
Yeah, there was a guy dressed as a clown. He was carrying an accordion.
An accordion? Bon. The picture is forming in my mind, and it is not a pretty one. Is the girl all right, Mou?
She'll live. She confirms the American statement. A clown with an accordion, no doubt an elaborate and eccentric disguise.
Very well. Eh bien, I have heard enough.
What do you mean?
I am satisfied that you know nothing. You may leave. I hope this little incident does not spoil the rest of your vacation.
What about my personal safety? Can't you at least give me some advice?
What can I say? Stay alert and look out for suspicious characters.
And don't cross the road until the little man shows green.
Great advice.
I honestly believe you are in no danger, monsieur. Should you remember anything of importance, please contact me. My card.
Thanks.
That is all. You may go.
There's not much to go on, monsieur.
On the surface, no. But what lurks inside the subconscious? If the door can only be opened.
Are you serious, monsieur? I thought your interest in psychic detection was purely academic.
Excuse me, mademoiselle? Hi. My name's George Stobbart.
Oh, an American by the sound of it.
Yep, that's right. On vacation in Paris. Some vacation, huh?
You were here when the bomb went off?
Sure was. Sat right out in front of the cafe.
Did you notice a middle-aged man, maybe 60, with a hat and overcoat?
I couldn't believe it. She hadn't even asked how I was feeling. Yeah, he went inside just before the bomb exploded. You weren't related to him, were you?
Oh, no, nothing like that. I'm Nico Collard from La Liberté.
What is that, some kind of nightclub?
Oh, no, it's a newspaper.
You're a reporter?
I'm a freelance photojournalist.
Say, you could interview me about the bombing. An eyewitness account, minutes after the outrage that shook the whole of Paris. You know, real-life drama, human interest, that kind of stuff.
I'll just stick to the facts, thank you. Did you see who planted the bomb?
I know it sounds crazy, but he was dressed like a clown.
A clown? It's him again.
Do you know a police officer called Rosso?
Rosso? Our paths have a knack of crossing. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was deliberate. Have you seen Rosso? Is he here?
He's inside, attempting to question a witness with his psychic powers.
That guy is weird.
Yeah. I found this newspaper outside the cafe.
That is not a newspaper, it's a gossip rag.
There's something written in it. Salah Eddin, 1345.
It sounds like a betting tip. The name of the horse and the time of the race. What do you think?
That's what I thought, but the name of the meeting isn't given.
Well, so what? I'm not the least bit interested in horse racing, are you?
No, but it could be a clue to the killer's next move.
Do you think his next victim will be the jockey? Or the horse?
She looked at me with a playful twinkle in her eye. Okay, it's a long shot. Look, the inspector gave me his card.
I didn't know his first name was Augustin. It suits him, I must say.
Who was the guy you were supposed to meet?
His name was Plantard. I didn't know him, but he called me last night. He said he had a story which would interest me. He asked me to meet him at the cafe. I guess I'll never know what he wanted to tell me.
Well, not unless you have Rosso's gift for psychic interrogation. Have you met the clown before?
It's a long story.
I have plenty of time.
I don't.
Why won't you tell me about the clown?
Why do you want to get involved?
Because he almost killed me. Isn't that reason enough?
I guess so. Listen, I'll give you my phone number. You help me with my story and I'll let you in on what I know. And let's get one thing straight right now. This is strictly business.
Okay, it's a deal.
I have to go develop these pictures. À bientôt, monsieur.
Fine. I'll see you soon. I considered straightening the table, but I figured it best not to disturb the evidence. I examined the jagged glass remaining in the window. It was broken, all right. Sergeant Moo?
Ah, Monsieur Stobbart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure. What is Rosso doing with that girl?
He is giving her the once-over, as you Americans say. Once he gets his teeth into a case, nothing will shake him off.
I found this in the street, Sergeant.
That, monsieur, is a newspaper, no?
There's a note written on it. Salah Eddin, 1345.
Aha!
That stumped you, hasn't it?
I have never been stumped, as you put it, in my life, monsieur. It is the name assumed by the clown, no?
Salah Eddin the clown? I don't think so. I was one of the last people to see the victim alive, Sergeant.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I feel I owe it to him to find his killer.
That is best left to the authorities, monsieur. Did he speak to you? Tell you anything?
No, he just grinned and nodded.
Don't let it trouble you, monsieur. Go home and try to forget.
I know the identity of the dead guy. His name was Plantar.
Is that so? You knew him, did you?
No, but
We'll know everything there is to know about him soon enough.
I'm trying to be helpful here.
The best way you can help us is to go home, monsieur.
Look, Sergeant, the inspector gave me his card.
Yes, monsieur. He wants you to advise him if you have any information concerning this case.
Well, I'd be glad to talk with him, but I don't want him working his psycho weirdness on me.
Ah, no, monsieur. You are confusing the science of parapsychology with witchcraft.
Oh, yeah? What's the difference?
We don't do sacrifices.
See you later, Sergeant. Hey, you!
I thought you'd been arrested.
No, it was a misunderstanding.
When he pulled that gun, I thought that was it. Those automatics pack quite a punch, you know?
He made a mistake. He thought I was a terrorist.
You? A terrorist? Ha!
He was only doing his duty, I guess. Would you like to read my newspaper?
I haven't got time to read that. Can't you see I'm busy?
You could read it on your lunch break.
10 minutes is all I get. And if my boss had his way, I wouldn't get that. He'd have me on a drip, so I didn't have to stop to eat.
Oh, take the newspaper and quit complaining.
Pah! Look at this. Damn bleeding heart liberals. Tcha! Save the dolphins. Catch them and eat them, I say. All that fuss over a bunch of fish. Nah, that's more like it. Look at the size of those. Like champagne bottle corks, no? Ah, what's this? Saladin running in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe.
It's a racehorse?
A horse? A legend. Bucephalus reborn, mon ami. Like a streak of lightning she is. Do me a favor, won't you? Keep an eye on my hole. I'm off to put some money on that nag.
What about your toolbox?
Stuff it. Help yourself.
I found a T-shaped tool in the box. I didn't know what it was, but it looked useful.
Hello, Nico Collard.
Hello? It's George.
Oh, hi.
Well, I haven't had a lot of luck.
You found nothing.
No.
Look, I'm very busy right now. Call me if you have any news, okay?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Adieu, monsieur.
See you. Set into the huge gate was a smaller access door. The door was securely locked. The clown had fled into this alley, but there was no sign of him now. I was intrigued by Nico and what she could tell me about the explosion. It smelled like someone had dumped a truckload of fish in a locker room on a hot summer afternoon. I took a deep breath and prepared to climb the drain pipe. I guess the clown hadn't escaped over the rooftops. There was nothing of interest. I'd had it with sticking my nose into French trash cans. The cover was too heavy and awkward to lift with my bare hands. I lifted the cover to reveal what smelt like the entrance to a sewer. As I picked up the plastic ball, I realized it was intended to be worn. It was the clown's red nose. The nose was hollow. Printed on the inside were the words, La Risée du Monde, Paris. It was a bright red plastic nose, part of a clown's costume. I scooped up the sodden tissue. It was cold and greasy, like breakfast leftovers. I took hold of the scrap of material and unsnagged it from the spike. Hi there.
Hold it right there, you sewer rat. I knew you'd come back, and now I've got you.
What are you talking about?
You're trespassing. Come out of there, immediately.
That's what I'm trying to do. Give me your hand.
Ha! You won't catch me with tricks like that. Keep your distance, monsieur.
Okay, okay.
Now, what were you looking for?
I was looking for a clown.
Huh, ridiculous. Do you really expect me to believe that?
He planted a bomb in the cafe and blew it up.
What? The cafe? Blown up? Mon Dieu, that is awful. And you say the person responsible was dressed as a clown?
That's right. He blew up the cafe, escaped into the sewer, changed his clothes, and came up here.
Ah, mon Dieu! Then, the man I chased, do you think that man and the clown are one and the same?
Well, yes, it had crossed my mind.
Ah, that still does not explain what you are doing down the sewer. For all I know, you are in league with him.
Oh no, I'm just a tourist.
Haha, most tourists are content with the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, or the Pigalle. I didn't realize my waste pipes were such an attraction.
Take a look at this false nose.
I've never seen it before in my life.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur. It's disgusting. What on earth possessed you to show it to me? Someone has emptied their nostrils into it.
Do you recognize this material?
I am not telling you anything.
Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
I didn't notice. Now are you going to leave? Or do I have to call the police?
Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't. Who is he?
The man who was killed in the cafe. I'm gonna find the guy responsible. I'll find him. Even if it means following him down every sewer in every city in Europe.
Bravo! You need some sensible boots. You won't get far in those stupid sneakers.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
Oh, she isn't hurt, is she?
No, she's fine.
Oh, thank heavens. A poor girl like her isn't safe with the likes of you roaming the streets.
Can't you understand? I'm not a gangster. I'm an American tourist.
That's what you say.
Tell me about the man you apprehended.
What is there to tell? He was a typical criminal type. Just like you.
Perhaps you'd like to take a look at my card?
What is this? Inspector Augustin Rousseau? What does that say? Hominoid division?
A homicide. I think the ink's smudged.
Then you are not a tourist.
Okay, I'm not. I lied to you. And I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, monsieur. You know, I had a feeling there was something different about you. It is your posture, your poise. Oh, yes. There is no mistaking the bearing of a disciplined man. And I should know. I was in the army, you know. When I was your age, I was fighting for my life in the African desert. How can I help you, Inspector?
Tell me about the man you apprehended.
He was a mean one, monsieur. He grabbed me in an armlock. His face suddenly next to mine. His grip was like iron. But he did not know what he was up against. Oh no. He made a big mistake when he took on one of the desert hyenas.
Yes, I get the picture. Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
You can't suspect her, surely.
Just answer the question, please.
Yes, I know her. Quite well, you could say. She came to work at the cafe 7 months ago. I look forward all week to the relief she gives me when she visits.
Really? So you'd miss her if she wasn't there?
Oh, mais oui. Who else would I find to cut my toenails?
Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
Why, yes, he was. Clutched in his arms like a baby.
That belonged to his victim.
Oh, what do you think was in it? Drugs? Stolen jewels?
I don't know. But the killer thought it was worth a man's life.
Nothing is worth that, monsieur.
This is what I used to open the manhole cover.
I have one just the same as that, monsieur. I will fetch it if you like.
No, don't bother.
Oh, it is no bother, monsieur.
Nah, forget it.
Just trying to be helpful, monsieur.
Does this piece of material mean anything to you?
That is the same cloth as the jacket I found. I'd recognize that pattern anywhere.
Now, about the jacket you found. Do you have it here?
No, monsieur. One of the sleeves was badly torn, so I sent it for repair. A pity, because otherwise it was a fine piece of quality tailoring. It had the tailor's name inside on the label.
Where did you send the jacket?
I gave it to an itinerant Romani seamstress.
Just my luck. Was there anything in the jacket pockets?
Not a sou. You know what I think?
Do tell me.
He changed out of the clown suit and cunningly disguised himself as an ordinary person.
Looks like I'm up against a mastermind. What was the name on the label?
It was a foreign name. Todrick, I think.
Did you get the address?
There wasn't one, monsieur. Only a telephone number.
Well, I don't expect you to remember a phone number you've only seen once.
74 98 08 59.
You're kidding. That's his phone number?
Yes, that's it. A little trick with numbers that I learned in the desert. I was taught the technique by a Turahok shaman.
That's incredible.
It comes in handy at the supermarket checkout. Do I get a reward?
Honesty, monsieur, is its own reward.
Then I'm glad I do not rely on honesty to pay the bills.
I have to be going. Thanks to your help, the citizens of Paris can sleep a little easier tonight.
Vraiment? I was only doing my duty, monsieur. Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
So the clown had escaped into the sewer, come up into the courtyard, and then slipped back into the street here. It wasn't much, but it was more than the cops had got.
Hello? Who is this?
Hi, my name's George Stobbart. You don't know me.
Correct, Mr. Stobbart. I don't. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm trying to trace one of your customers. Could I maybe come over and talk to you?
No, that's not possible.
Oh, okay. Forget it. Listen, all I want is a name.
What are you talking about? Who are you working for?
I guess you might say I'm acting in the interests of truth and justice.
Thank God. I thought you were the police.
There are innocent lives at stake, Mr. Todrick. Lives that you could save.
You're collecting for charity, yes?
No, I'm not. All I want from you is information.
Go on. I'm listening.
What do you know about the clown who bombed the Café de la Chandelle Verte?
I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
You're cool, Todrick. But I think you know more than you're saying.
I don't know who you be, but sure I am you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Quit playing games with me, Todrick.
I tell you, I know nothing about no clown.
Do you know a guy called Plantar?
No, I never heard of him.
Shall I tell you what happened to Plantar? How he was killed in cold blood?
I told you, I never heard of Plantar.
I expect Plantar's a family man, don't you? In their little apartment, Madame Plantar is cooking the supper, listening for the familiar sound of her husband's key in the door. Junior is waiting for his daddy to come home from work. He can't wait to show him the merit marks he earned in school today. Only tonight, Monsieur Plantar won't be coming home.
You forgot the puppy.
Huh?
The faithful puppy dog, waiting for the sound of his master's voice.
Well, maybe they don't have a dog. What do you think?
I don't know, Plantar. I never heard of Plantar. None of this has anything to do with me.
Thanks for nothing, Todrick. Excuse me.
Not so fast. I'd like your personal details, please.
Huh? What for?
In the event of an accident, it would help us to know where to send the body.
I found this tissue.
What the hell is that?
It's evidence.
Evidence of what? Mayonnaise smuggling?
The sticky stuff is grease paint.
Ah, and that is supposed to make me happy, is it? I suggest you think long and hard about what you are doing with your life, monsieur.
Look, is this really necessary? I came in here to talk to Rosso.
Why did you not say? He's not here.
But
do you wish to leave a message for him? I have a choice of blue or black pen. I'd recommend the blue for a less formal communication.
I'd prefer to talk to him in person.
As you wish, monsieur.
Is Sergeant Moo available?
What? You want to speak to him?
Yes, please.
I cannot recall the last time someone asked to speak to Moo. No one ever speaks to him. Not even his kids. Eh bien. He's not here, monsieur. He is with Inspector Rosso, like Laurel and Kitten. No, monsieur?
Hardy. Oliver Norville Hardy. I found this red nose near the Café de la Chandelle Verte.
A clown's nose?
That's right. The guy who wore this is a savage killer.
If you say so, monsieur.
I found this scrap of material in the sewer.
Vraiment?
It was probably torn from the clothes of a psychotic killer.
Even if you were Sherlock Holmes, I would have trouble believing you.
Have you any idea what this tool is used for?
Oui, monsieur. It is a dipstick.
Thanks for your help, officer.
Hello, Nico Collard.
Hello? It's George.
Ah, oui.
You said to call if I could help.
Have you any news for me?
You bet. I met a witness who spoke to the clown. And I know where the killer gets his suits.
No kidding. Hey, I'm impressed.
You are? Well, it wasn't easy.
Look, why don't you come here to my apartment later this afternoon?
Fine. Where do you live?
361 Rue Jarry.
Okay, I'll come over.
I was used to working alone, but I had to admit it felt good with George on the case too. But there were some things I was going to have to do alone, and fast. I needed the answers to some questions. Who was the costume killer? And why did he murder Carchon? Why did Carchon ask for me to interview him? How did he know my father? And why was my editor so scared? There was some kind of secret war going on out there, but who was on which side? One thing I did know. I wasn't going to get the answer sitting at my desk. There wasn't anyone that I needed to call. It was a photograph of my father, the first one I ever took, with the first camera he ever bought me. It was a
No, I'm not giving up.
You have no messages.
I'm not giving up.
My first teddy.
No, I'm not
Never had a
giving
boyfriend as
up
loyal as him.
on you. 'Cause I feel like if we work it will make it through.
The box was carved by my father. It never had a key. The elephant on the lid was a perfect match to Cochon's. My first teddy. Never had a boyfriend as loyal as him.
You have no messages.
Mademoiselle Collard.
Oh, hello there. Don't tell me I'm going to meet a tall, dark man.
No, I don't think so. Why would you say that?
Oh, just a wild guess.
Anyway, your cousin's female and very pretty.
What?
Your cousin from Marseille. How could you forget her so soon? She was only in your apartment yesterday.
Ah, really?
Such a charming young girl.
Isn't she? And in my apartment, you say?
She let herself in, of course. She's got a key.
Suddenly, everything made sense. My apartment had been booked. That was how Plantard knew all about my article. How did I know? Because the only cousin I have is a sweet little guy called Jean-Marc, who runs a patisserie in Le Touquet. These people were determined, which meant they were also very dangerous.
I suppose she'd forgotten which apartment was mine. Oh, Miss Collard, you're a mind reader. That's just what she said.
Oh, I bet it was. Well, I'd better be going. See what my sweet cousin's been getting up to.
Au revoir, mademoiselle.
I didn't need to call anyone. The door was locked.
Hello, could I ask you some questions?
That depends. Are you a cop?
No, I'm a journalist.
It's late, aren't you? They already took away the body.
I'm doing a follow-up on this story. Tell me, are you related to the workman I saw digging the hole?
Don't talk to me about flobage. Pah!
Okay.
He just won a fortune on the horses and he won't give me a cent.
Well, it's his money.
When he was broke, he was happy to touch me for a loan. Brothers should look after each other, he used to say. He's changed his tune, now he's brassed up.
You're doing a fine job.
Damn right I am. You should be writing about me, not that idiot that got blown up.
The heroes who pick up the pieces when disaster strikes.
Exactly.
Well, give me your best smile and maybe I'll put your picture in the article.
Oh, right. Just give me a minute to do my hair.
Hello?
Yes?
I need to take some more pictures.
Of course. My pleasure. Just give me a moment.
Hello?
Yes?
Have the police finished with the crime scene?
What does it look like? I got orders to board up the windows, and that's what I'm doing.
Do you like this coffin?
It's the kind of thing you pick up for a couple of euros at Les Puces de Saint-Ouen.
Do you know this man?
He looks like a nasty piece of work. I had an uncle who was with the fascists, but we never talk about him.
What happened to him?
How should I know? We never talk about him.
What do you think of my shell case?
Are you in the scrap business?
Of course not.
Pity. I've got some rubbish just like that I need to get rid of.
Take a look at this.
I don't like laissez hankies. They scratch my nose.
I can see how that must be a problem for you. Have you ever seen anything like this?
What do you think I am? A plumber?
Look at this secret message.
Very nice. But it's not secret now, is it? It's just a message.
You see this ticket?
Are you trying to bribe me?
No.
I don't blame you, of course. Good-looking fella like me.
Would you recognize this?
That is the key to a safe. A Warren special, if I'm not mistaken.
Would you like this hair clip?
What do you take me for? Some kind of a pervert?
He wouldn't be interested in a substitution cipher. So the body's been removed?
I certainly hope so, or it'll stink to high heaven when they take down these boards.
Shouldn't you check?
Are you kidding? They don't pay me enough to put up boards, let alone check for dead bodies.
I need to take some more pictures.
Of course. My pleasure. Just give me a moment.
There was nothing I could do. The workman had everything under control. There might have been clues down there, but I was relieved I didn't have a sewer key. I didn't need to call anyone. The door was locked. I needed some direction, some clue to where I should go next. So, where had my pretty new cousin hidden her little bug, eh? I was going to have to search everywhere.